Alrighty, what's up guys? A minor patch just dropped. I haven't seen anything about it. Actually, it's not entirely honest. I very briefly went like this just to see how long it was. So I saw it's a pretty decent length for a minor patch. And I think there's gonna be some balance changes in there because I may have seen one change that jumped out to me, even though I was scrolling so fast. So there are a few balance changes in here, I believe. This is the first patch we've had since Razi's release, so we're probably going to see some changes maybe to her, as they often do make some pretty significant changes to the characters that have just come out. Like, if I had to just sort of put on my... I don't know, if I just had to like look into the future and just see what it is they're going to change, because they always do this with pretty much every character that comes out, my guess is that they're going to reduce her team mode damage. Are you late? No, you're very early actually. We just started. So my guess is that they're going to probably reduce her squad and duo numbers by about 5-ish%, but we'll see. That seems to be the trend that they've been sort of going with. All right, let's get right into it. Right here at the beginning. Hello there, my lovely little test subjects. Aesop here with your favorite weekly post patch notes. Today's 0.24.3 update is a small update with some balance adjustments. This update will go live from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Servers will be down for approximately 3 hours. So they're going right into some character balance changes, with Nadine being changed. It's a bug fix. Wild and Clairvoyant, her passive now accurately displays location of animals as indicated on the minimap. So just a little bug fix. Lennox changes. Lennox's weapon skill and AoE damage was slightly too strong for squad skirmishes. Damage dealt in squads is going from 100% down to 94%. So this is something that is kind of confusing to me, because I'm pretty sure they... Okay, someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure they lowered her damage in all modes in the last patch by 5%. Right? Isn't that... Hold on. Before we get too deep into it, let me double check. I thought that's what they did. I don't want to just like talk out my ass though. No, not the last patch. The patch before? It was the patch before that. The one where they nerfed her a ton. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm just wrong. I thought they did though. Weird. Super weird. In any case, they're lowering Lennox's damage. I mean, according to it, oh, it's an add-on after the fact. Oh, so it's not in the patch notes. That makes sense. So if they lowered it by 5% on all queues, why are they saying she's at 100% in squads? That kind of confuses me. But whatever. So I'm assuming this is lowering it from 95 down to 94, but it says 100. I'm unsure. It's unclear. Yeah, for those who don't know, they did actually tack on an after-the-fact nerf to Lennox when one of these most recent patches came out, saying that she got a 5% nerf in like all queues. I don't know, because this is sort of confusing. What's up, Aesop? How you doing? What's up, everybody, by the way? So, Razi. You can now play Razi in ranked matches. Her base attack speed is being buffed. I believe, yeah. So buffed from 0.605 attacks per second to 0.615 attacks per second, so just a slight attack speed buff. Damage dealt in duo mode is being reduced from 100% down to 97, and in squads, it's going from 100% down to 94. This is what I expected. Honestly, if I'm Nimble Neuron, and I'm not yet, you can hire me. No, but like really, if I'm Nimble Neuron, I would just start releasing every single character, if they're ranged at least, or a caster, or have AoE in their kit, just put them out with 97% in duo and 94% in squad. Because I feel like this happens every single character release. They always come out and everyone goes, oh my god, this character is mediocre in solos, but they're like really good in team modes because they're always at 100%. But if you look at like every other character in the game, they all have that sort of gradient of like 100%, you know, or like high damage in solos, medium damage in duos, low damage in squads. Like they all have that gradient, because that's just the only way you can really balance it, because the idea is behind team modes is that you need to have the damage be lower overall so that the team fights don't end too fast. Okay, so GM Goddess on the 13th said, update without maintenance, Lennox's damage reduction of 5% is now properly adjusted every mode. Yeah, so they said that they were going to reduce her damage by 5% every mode. So I'm not really sure about that change in the patch notes, but we're not going to get too deep into that because who cares? You know, it could be whatever it is. Lead Island changes. Oh, and by the way, yeah, is exactly what I predicted. Okay, Lead Island changes. We've removed the cast time for movement skills to make it a bit clearer and smoother when playing. Interesting. Okay, so attack power per level is going from 1.9 up to 2.2. That's just a straight attack power buff per level. And her Q, the first use cast time has no cast time now. It's just instant. The second cast no longer... What? Okay, so second cast can't go over walls anymore. That's a huge change. You can only go over on the third one now. So basically, the Q comes out quicker, so it feels maybe less clunky, even though they've... Okay, let's go back in time. Back in, I want to say open beta. Pretty sure it was open beta. They changed Dylan significantly. When Dylan came out, she was considered a pretty bad character. She had a ton of like use delay on her Q. It was like you couldn't chain together the Qs super well, and you couldn't really put in a lot of stuff between your Qs. It was really clunky and it didn't feel good. As a result, it was making Dylan pretty weak as a character. What they did was they smoothed it out a ton and made it much easier to weave actions in between your Qs. And when they did that, she went from a pretty bad character to like a broken character for months, just because they made her more smooth. This isn't quite that, but it's similar. They're making the Q once again a little bit more smooth by removing that cast time on the initial Q. That being said, as sort of a balance adjustment, they're also making it so the second Q can't go over walls, so that it is going to be nerfing her mobility, which in my opinion still needed to happen, even if she hasn't been performing as well as she has been in the last few months. Making it so she can't go over walls on the second Q makes it so she's not quite as mobile as she has been, and she's honestly... I'm not saying she's on par with Jackie, but her escape mechanisms are sort of too good at the moment, as she does get away from a lot of fights like significantly easier than most other characters. So I don't reject this change. In fact, I'm kind of always up for lowering some of the higher mobility characters' mobility because they're a little bit over-tuned, in my opinion. Magnus changes. His Q, Broken Bullet. The cooldown is being reduced at max rank by 2 seconds. It's the same in rank 1 though, so you have to be putting points into it to actually see this cooldown reduction. Not a huge change, but it's something. Heavy Strike, his E, has a longer cooldown at max rank, just the opposite of the Q change. At the first rank it's gonna be 12 seconds either way, but with the new version you're gonna be missing 2 seconds on the cooldown for Heavy Strike, so it's gonna be lower cooldowns at max rank. And his R, Pike no longer spins out or flies to the target after being CC'd. Another bug fix on that R, because apparently that's it's pretty hard to make it work. So Stella changes. Free at last, her R now appropriately deals damage in proportion to lost HP. I don't know if it's going to make it do more damage or less damage, but we'll see. It's a bug fix. Another bug fix coming here for Sylvia. Sylvia, her E on the bike no longer follows enemies that use the Hyperloop or a movement skill. Interesting. The fact that it doesn't follow enemies that use a movement skill is actually massive. Like, the Hyperloop thing, sure, that barely came up. It wasn't... I mean, it caused some funny moments, but it wasn't that big a deal. The movement skill thing, it says it's a bug fix, but that is a significant nerf that her E is no longer a lock-on. It's no longer a tracking skill against movement skills, which is actually huge. Here's what I don't get, though. If I E on my bike against a target, and the target dashes away as I'm dashing, will the damage... I know you won't follow them to their endpoint, but will the damage still apply? I don't know. Like, do you have to collide with them for it to deal the damage, or will the damage still apply even if you don't follow them? I don't know. That remains to be seen. In any case, this is a much needed change, as Sylvia's chase was too good. I mean, her chase is still insane, but like, at least you can dash out of the E. At least there's at least some counterplay to her E. Because before, there really wasn't. It was a targeted, ranged dash that you couldn't get away from, and it would track you and follow you. It was pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. Emma. Her late game strength was a bit too oppressive. Hello, what? Who was saying that? So we're tuning down her late game, but allowing her to be more aggressive in the early and mid game. Dove Dealer, her Q is going to get a bigger slow when you land both of her Qs, going from 30% up to 40%. Bunnymorph for E. This is basically the polymorph. Movement speed reduction is being increased from 0.6 to 0.7. Yeah, I think. Pretty sure that's supposed to be a reduction. Yeah. Okay, so it's a buff. Her R. Ooh, that is a very significant nerf. Her R is the same at rank 1, but as you level it up, rank 2 and rank 3, losing up to 3 seconds on the cooldown, or gaining, I should say, up to 3 seconds on the cooldown at max rank, going from 12 seconds up to 15. That is a big nerf to late game Emma. That is actually a massive nerf to late game Emma. 12 seconds was nice. It was really nice, actually. But going up to 15, that's a 3-second nerf on probably the most important skill in her kit. So that's a really big nerf for late game. That is enormous. Basically, your rank 2 Q before is the same cooldown as your rank 3 Q now. Keep that in mind. Change R, the dove damage. I think this is like when you use the R on the dove, it does less damage. So it does more damage at rank 1, but it does less damage at rank 3. Same at rank 2. This is going to be the same case for changing on your hat as well. So the damage at rank 1 in the original like dove swap was 150. It's going up to 175, so it's a buff to the early game. And the damage on rank 3 is going down from 250 to 225. For the hat change, it's gaining 25 attack power, or sorry, 25 damage for rank 1, similar to Dove Dealer, but it's also going to be losing 25, same as Dove Dealer, or at least swapping onto your Dove. So that's it. Interesting changes. Big nerfs to the late game while buffing a little bit of the early game R. Yuki, we've removed the cast time for movement skills to make it a bit cleaner. So this is something that's happening to almost every, I guess, a lot of characters now. Curious if anyone else is going to get this too, but we've removed the cast time for movement skills to make it a bit clearer and smoother when playing. The cast time of Dashing Gentleman E is going from 0.13 seconds down to instant. The dash/arrival animation was extended, so the overall skill time remains the same. So basically, throwing it out should be the same, or sorry, it should be much cleaner now, but the overall like distance you'll gain, the amount of time you spend in the skill should be the same according to this tooltip. We'll see. ISIL changes. Camouflage, his E, is giving ISIL a bit too much safety in the late game. I fully agree. They're making the SP cost increase per level, going from, instead of a static 110 at all ranks, it's going up to 110 all the way up to 130 at max rank. Zahir, his passive now properly displays corpses in the area, just sort of a bug fix. Jackie, we'd like it if Jackies would consider some other skill builds. I don't really know what that means, but I think it means like more like amp based builds. The wording on that is just kind of funny. I also wish that Jackie had skill involved. Anyway, so hack and slash the Q. The second slash damage is being increased at max rank from 110 up to 130, but at base rank it's staying at 30. So basically they're trying to, as Aesop just said in the chat, they're trying to make people put points into her Q, because right now everyone's just sort of maxing on her mobility skills, because mobility skills are so good. She is the best mobility character in the game, so they're trying to promote making you use her Q. The movement speed reduction when hitting a bleeding enemy is being increased from 2.5 seconds up to 3 seconds. So this is, by the way, this is Jackie we're talking about, a character who's already doing exceptionally well at the moment, getting just straight buffs with no downsides. Nothing being taken away, just straight buffs to Jackie, which I find questionable, personally. But whatever, man. We'll see. We'll see. I don't really think we should be buffing Jackie without nerfing her mobility. That's all I'm saying. If you want to encourage a character or a play, or you know, like people who play a certain character to play a different playstyle, move the playstyle you want up, and then move the other playstyles down. And you're not moving anything down, so you're just moving that up. It's just a buff to Jackie. I don't agree with this, and I don't like it, but we'll see. Heart changes. Heart is now easier to use. The E has, wait, what? It still allows for counterplay from enemies. Basically, her evolved E, the skill amplification duration is being increased, so you have that buff for a longer period of time. The allowed time between casts is being increased, though, so you can't just chain your E's as fast as you could before. Keep in mind, this actually got nerfed also, I believe, in the last patch, or the patch before it, where they made it an additional longer time between casts. So you can't chain your E's nearly as fast anymore, but to compensate for this, they're making it so that the buff you get from going E is being increased in duration. Gojin changes. We've removed some of Hedge's mobility in the early game. Thank God. My God, was it ridiculous. Her E is now going to have to be leveled if you want that cooldown reduction. It's going from 19 at rank, so it's going from 12 seconds flat at all ranks, static 12 seconds, which was ridiculous before. It's being changed to 19/17/15/13/11. So at max rank, it's actually 1 second less cooldown, but until then, it's going to be a longer cooldown. I couldn't be happier with this change. Hedgin's early game mobility was absolutely bonkers. It was broken. The character in general was just pretty overtuned, so this is a good way of toning down Hedgin without really just destroying who she is as a character. It's getting rid of one of her more problematic sort of aspects of her kit. All right, we're trying to adjust a handful of weapons that were on both ends of the scale of our balance outlook, either too strong or too weak, and to help promote build diversity. We don't really want there to be situations where one build or one item is grossly overused in comparison. Okay, I like this. I mean, I'm all here for it. Pistol changes. Devil's Marksman is gaining 2 flat skill amp. Guys, Devil's Marksman's been buffed like 2 or 3 patches in a row now. I'm not saying it's great yet because its build path absolutely blows, but don't sleep on it. 42 flat amp, we're getting honestly really close to being one of the highest flat amp weapons in the game. It might even, I know there are some that are still higher, but it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. Don't sleep on Devil's Marksman. It gained a little bit of attack power, I believe, the last buff, and now it's getting a little bit of flat amp. So don't sleep on this weapon. It's actually pretty good at the moment. Glove changes. Frost Petal Hand is getting a buff, going from 27 attack power up to 30, and Divine Fist is also getting a buff, going from 50 attack power up to 53. Guitar changes. Teen Spirit is gaining more attack speed back. This is a guitar that was very popular at one point in the end of open beta, the beginning of early access. This weapon got gutted really hard, and it's now getting some of its stats back. Real quick, back more on the Hedgin. You guys are sort of talking more about like Hedgin and why this nerf is like a good thing. Let me just read what you guys are saying. I still feel that Hedgin requires too much work. Toxic saying she doesn't at the moment, her damage is too high and it's too safe, and she's just a low risk, high reward character. I do actually kind of agree, and I agree with both points here actually. The thing about Hedgin is she is a high skill character. I don't think anyone is sitting here saying Hedgin is free. Anyone can slam Hedgin and be averse or be, you know, insane with the character. No. Hedgin is a very high skill character. I fully agree with that statement. That being said, just because a character is hard to pull off efficiently, that doesn't mean that they aren't still subject to being balanced down to the level of every other character. Because right now, if you are playing Hedgin optimally, she has sort of too many tools and is too safe while doing it. She has extremely high damage, some of the highest in the game, like by a mile. She's the only thing that's really bad about Hedgin is that her weapon takes 3 zones. Like for a good Hedgin weapon, aka Elemental Bow, it's a 3-zone weapon, so her routing is not great, but her damage is insane, her mobility is insane, she's incredibly safe. She has everything that you need for a fantastic character at the moment, and that's why Hedgin is broken. This is a good change. The cooldown change on her E is a very good change because now it's not just brain dead easy which skills you level. You can't just leave E at one point and expect it to be amazing as it was before. Right now, there's no reason to level her E. Now you're being forced to with this change. So this is actually a good thing. Anyways, that's just, again, a few more thoughts on that subject. Dagger changes. Karnwennen getting another buff. This is, I want to say 4 patches in a row we've seen Karnwennen buffs. Vibroblade also getting another buff as well, which is crazy. I'm telling you, these daggers, they buff them like almost every patch. You guys should not be sleeping on these daggers anymore. Karnwennen is going from 41 attack power up to 44. The HP regen nerf honestly doesn't matter. Like, it's if this is the compensation, I will take the HP regen nerf in order to get a little bit more attack power, because regen as a stat just doesn't really matter that much anymore, but it still is, it does some things you don't really notice. I would much rather trade the regen for the extra damage though. If I'm a Karnwennen player, I would rather have the extra damage. Vibroblade buff is just a straight buff. Vibroblade's actually quite good at the moment. Don't sleep on Vibroblade either. Assault Rifle. The overheat stack reduction time if auto attacks are unused is being increased. So if I'm reading that correctly, what that means is that you actually have more time before your stacks start decaying. This is a huge buff to ARs, which are already pretty good at the moment. This is actually huge. This is enormous. Like, AR is a monster in the late game because of overheat. So if overheat is more reliable, more consistent to get it like prepared for a fight, like if you just auto a bore a couple times to get you ready, get you more stacks to go into that next fight, this is enormous, because you're going to be seeing AR skills coming out a lot more consistently and a lot more early in fights, which is where they're going to be really significant. Rapier changes. We're seeing Durandal Mark II. The crit damage is being buffed from 25% up to 30%. Sort of, I'm assuming, to compensate for the fact that A, no one's really using it, and for B, the fact that they've been nerfing crit damage across the board because they've been introducing the crit damage reduction onto headpieces. Hammer changes. Evening Star is getting a slight nerf, going from 150 down to 145. Magic Stick is also getting a slight nerf, going from 65 down to 60. Magnus has been really popular in Korea, like usual. Like, that's not exactly something that is a surprise. No one plays Magic Stick or Evening Star in NA, but I can assure you, and I do know this because I've been looking into this as someone who is a kind of a big fan of Magnus, there are Korean players who are doing extremely well on Magnus right now, building both Evening Star and Magic Stick. The idea is that you start on like a Fang Mace or something like that, you farm, you eventually pivot into an Evening Star or a Magic Stick. It's an insanely efficient mid-game weapon pivot. So no, this is not like a random nerf that I don't get why it's happening. I do get why it's happening. This is being played in Korea. This is actually a popular thing in Korea. Am I saying that it's so broken it needed to get nerfed? Not really. But I get why they're making this change, because it's not for us, it's for the Korean server where this is actually being played a decent amount. So, at Skaz, what is your opinion on creating Armor Pen as a stat on items? I talked about this with Homecoming. We kind of agreed that it would probably be a good change for the game. So I think they're already talking about doing that. I think it's somewhere in the roadmap. You should double check that. I could just be talking out of my, out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure they mentioned somewhere about Armor Pen being introduced somewhere in the Trello. Double check that. I could be wrong though. Bat changes. Okay, so they're this is good. This is good. The recipe change for Spy Umbrella is going from Umbrella plus Poison to Umbrella plus Ash. Am I talking on my ass, Aesop? All right. Well, that's unfortunate. I wouldn't mind an armor penetration type thing. I don't think the game necessarily is dying to have it at the moment, but I feel like I wouldn't mind too much, but I don't know if we want to add another stat, another balance issue right now, because I feel like the game kind of already has a bunch of stats. No, this does not create more competition for paper. Don't worry. Poison already needs paper. Basically, all this is doing is taking out one more craft. What it used to be was you'd have to get an umbrella, you'd have to get ash, you'd probably just use your starting water. It would require one more craft to go from ash to poison to the spy umbrella. Instead, they're cutting out the poison step. It's just going for, ash to spy umbrella. It's one less blue craft, it's one less water needed. It's just a buff, basically, to reduce the crafting time, because honestly, anything that requires poison is kind of it's a massive pain. Because in the early game, when you want to be rushing your weapon, having to sit there and craft another blue, I know that doesn't seem like such a significant issue, but that actually is a big issue in terms of like build momentum. There's a lot of weapons that like get crafted super fast versus some that take a long time. Like if you've ever crafted a Mistleton and you know how long it takes to finish the blue chest piece and then the purple sword and then the gold sword, like the crafting time on that is so long. You feel like you're losing momentum as a player. So I do like this change, because having played a lot of Spy Umbrella, this poison craft is annoying. I feel the same way about what's it called? Devil's Marksman. I wish there just wasn't, like, take poison out of the game, just make it ash. Like, why is poison even the way it is right now? Just adding the water, it's not changing anything. Just make it ash. Crossbow. Heavy crossbow is getting its power decreased from 72 down to 69. I think this is the crossbow that goes into ballista. I believe the blue crossbow that goes into ballista. So basically, this is less oppressive because you can finish it all within hotel and grief people really early. It's really annoying. Dual swords changes. Dioscuri. The attack power is being increased from 43 up to 46. Logoran Zar is bringing its attack speed down from 20% down to 15%. I don't hate either of these changes. I'm glad we're nerfing Logorunzar because it was kind of ridiculous. I mean, I think it is actually pretty damn ridiculous, you know? Dioscuri, though, is not doing the best, so I don't really mind this buff. That being said, I am very cautious. I'm very, like, wary when it comes to buffing dual swords because dual swords can be pretty ridiculous. Shuriken changes. Cards of Tyranny getting 5% more crit chance, going from 20% up to 25%. This got buffed in the last patch too. It gained some attack speed in the last patch, so maybe Cards of Tyranny might be slept on a little bit now after this change because it's been getting buffed pretty consistently and it was already like okay before, but there's not a lot of reasons to run crit on the characters that currently have Shuriken. So that's mainly the main issue why you wouldn't necessarily want to run this. Fletchet changes, getting a little bit more movement speed, going from 0.2 up to 0.25. So it's a pretty fast, I want to say it's the fastest weapon in the game now, right? I don't think any weapon's faster than that. That's insanely high movement speed for a weapon. Two-handed sword changes. Excalibur, the max HP sword is losing 40 max HP to gain 10% attack speed. An interesting change. It's not really a nerf, it's just sort of a change. And Hovid is getting buffed? Really? Are we really buffing Hovid? I really dislike this change. Yeah, there's no Plasma Sword nerfs. Dude, the last few patches, man, they do nothing but buff two-handed sword, and it's already, like, extremely good. Why are we buffing Hovid? Yeah, it's like Hovid is already just the go-to choice until you get, like, right now for two-handed swords, for the most part, most of them are viable, believe it or not. Almost every two-handed sword is viable. Erendite has its own builds. Plasma Sword and Tuantian are both rushing. You rush them really early and they're really strong early game. Hovid is the best mid-game sword, and Leviathan is the best late-game sword. Mono Hoshisawa is kind of jank because it's a 4-zone weapon, so maybe that could use a change. But its stats are insane, that being said. And what is it, Dinesleaf? Dinesleaf is great. Dinesleaf is amazing. So what are we doing? Only problem Hovid had is that it looked the lamest. Yeah, it is kind of lame looking. Yeah, I mean, to me, this is a Yuki buff, because Yuki was probably the one who used Hovid the most. I don't think that Yuki needs any buffs at the moment, because in my opinion, Yuki is top tier. And he's probably the one who used Hovid the most of anyone. So, I dislike this. I dislike this quite a lot, actually. I feel like this is completely tone deaf, but maybe it's just a server thing and we're just on a different meta or something. Maybe they haven't caught up to the fact that Yuki is kind of broken at the moment. I don't think that's the case, though. I think both servers know Yuki is ridiculous, so I don't really get this. Sniper rifle. Sniper, they keep changing this. They keep buffing sniper D-skill, which is probably a good thing because it sucked, but it's getting better and better and better and better. Time from aiming until firing is now lower. So I believe this is after you lock on to somebody. It comes out faster now. Kitty Ninja says, TBH, two-handed feels nuts because it's strong early, mid, and late. It has no weak points. I fully agree. It has no weak points. You finish Plasma Sword and Tuantian faster than pretty much everyone else finishes their weapons. These are not characters who are weak in the early game. They have access to, like, fully built weapons insanely fast in 2 zones that are, like, easy to craft because they're blue too, so there's less time required to craft them. Yeah, I don't get why, and it's not like they don't have a good mid-game weapon, it's not like they don't have a good late-game weapon. I don't get why we're buffing two-handed swords so much. It's really kind of annoying me. But yeah, anyways, we're buffing sniper rifles. The skill amplification per level also going up from 2% up to 2.3%. And Polaris is getting a slight nerf in attack power, going down from 135 to 130. So aside from the Polaris nerf, that is a buff across the board for snipers once again, with Amp Sniper in particular getting a nice scaling amp buff. Dragon Guandao. This is the HP Spirit. Remember, guys, they added HP to Dragon Guandao in the last major patch. The attack power is being increased from 110 up to 115. Whip changes. The whip skill is being nerfed in its cooldown. 10 seconds at both ranks increased. So it's going from 30/20 up to 40/30. Throw changes. Ruthenium Whoa! Guys, Am I reading that right? Guys? Okay. Well, I'm glad I finished my I'm glad I finished the solo open and the squad open before this patch rolled out, cause wow. What a, excuse my language, what a fucking mistake this is. And this is coming from somebody who has pocket Ruthenium builds that he plays. I play Ruthenium builds more than anything else right now. This is such a massive fucking mistake. What is happening over at Nimble Neuron HQ that they're buffing Ruthenium Marble from 22% up to 26%? This is a weapon, sure, the recipe sucks. It's a 3-zone minimum in highly contested zones. I get that, okay? I get that. No, the patch is not live. I get that. I get that the routing on this thing sucks, but guys, 26 fucking percent on an amp weapon with 80 attack power and healing reduction? Are you kidding me? Hold on. What are the stats on, oh, Jesus Christ. What are the stats on like Azure Dagger or Wind and Fire Wheels? Let's talk about Wind and Fire Wheels, yeah? Wind and Fire Wheels. Would you consider Wind and Fire Wheels a viable weapon? Because most people would probably say yes. It's sort of on rate. It's not terrible. You wanna know what the stats on Wind and Fire Wheels are compared to Ruthenium Marble? Wind and Fire Wheels, it's a 2-zone, sure, that's a big advantage over Ruthenium, but it's like 55 attack power, 20% amp or something. It's a shuriken, so it's lower range, but it has caltrops. Ruthenium, 6% more skill amp, 25 more attack power and healing reduction. That is insane how much better Ruthenium is over Wind and Fire Wheels. I don't get it, dude. I don't get it. Why don't we just fix the route and nerf the weapon? Like, why are we making this thing so broken? This is so dumb. I mean, I'm gonna abuse the shit out of this. Like, this is great for me, but this is so stupid. An Incendiary Bomb. Holy crap. Incendiary Bomb. Attack power. Going from 75 down to 70, which is basically not a major change whatsoever. It's gaining 8% CDR. This weapon is insane. Remember, it has 50% attack power too. Don't forget that. Why? This weapon's nuts now. But here's the thing, it's nuts, and I'm not gonna use it over Ruthenium Marble because that's even more broken. Like, what is happening? And they nerfed David Sling, by the way. So, I mean, I'm off David Sling entirely at this point. Sure. But, like, my god. Incendiary Bomb and Ruthenium Marble are insane this patch. I don't want to just like dwell on this topic forever. I'm excuse me. I'm gonna move on. Summary: Incendiary Bomb buff is both a major buff to Adriana in particular, but also Cicella. Cicella will happily slam Incendiary Bomb now that it has CDR. Cicella loves CDR. So does Adriana, but Cicella in particular loves CDR. That being said, Cicella also loves 26% amp. So you know what? Why would I? But if I just want like an early game rush option, Incendiary Bomb is a 2-zone in many, many different ways. So that is a fantastic option as well. This is a, God, Cicella, I swear to fucking God, if Cicella gets nerfed over these buffs, I'm gonna be furious. Anyways, bow changes. Twin bow. The attack speed is being increased from 50% up to 55%. Golden ratio is gaining 10% CDR. I can't handle this, dude. Dude, okay, so well, what this is, I'm gonna spoil it for you guys. I'm gonna spoil it for you. What this is a major buff to golden ratio bow. I don't know. They should have changed the fact that twin bow autos deal like 5 damage. I agree, Toxic. I don't want twin bow to have more attack speed. Twin bow's issue is not attack speed, it's the fact it did no damage. But maybe that's what they want. They want it to just be high attack speed so you can focus on damage items or something. I don't know, man. Doesn't matter. Point is, Golden Ratio Bow. This is a massive buff to Golden Ratio Bow. Gaining 10% CDR is huge. Is huge. This is massive. So what this is a huge buff to Amp Nadine, because this is the best weapon for Amp Nadine. I'm not even saying Amp Nadine is amazing at the moment, or broken, or whatever, but you saw it in the tournament. It can pull off some crazy shit, especially in squads. This is a huge buff to that. Also, the other character that can use this bow, obviously, is Gojin. Gojin is not bad with Golden Ratio. Yes, I know Elemental Bow is extremely well statted, but it doesn't have 10% CDR tacked on as well. 10% CDR in Gojin is actually going to go quite a long way, especially now that her E has a longer cooldown in general. So this might become the go-to for Gojin. It really might, because this is a huge buff to Golden Ratio. 20% skill amp, like 60 attack power, 10% CDR on one weapon. Are you kidding me, dude? That's insane. That's so good on a weapon. Think about it. Fuma Shuriken is garbage in comparison. It has 15% CDR and terrible offensive stats, and people love to run that fucking thing because it has CDR. That's the only reason. This is only 5% less CDR, and it's got 20% amp and a bunch of attack power. This thing is broken. Why are we buffing Golden Ratio, Ruthenium Marble, Incendiary Bomb in such a way? This is insane. This is insane. And look, I'm trying to be not biased here because these are characters I want to play. I enjoy using these weapons and I use them all the time. It's not like I'm a melee main or something who only plays Jackie and runs away from everybody. No, I play like mages and range characters. I take full advantage of this. I do nothing but benefit from this. And why are they doing this? Why? I don't get it. In any case, let's talk about armor changes. Armor, same as weapons, adjustments of armor pieces that were over or underperforming. Queen of Hearts is losing some defense. Thank God that thing was broken. Auto arms, less HP regen, sure. Tactical ops helmet. Attack speed being buffed. Interesting, because I thought Tac Ops was actually in a pretty good spot at the moment. Attack speed being buffed from 20% up to 23%. And Helmet Banneret gaining some defense as well, going from 24 up to 28. Gojin, oh yeah, because Gojin was really underperforming, right guys? Gojin gaining 3 attack power, going from 10 up to 13. Lace Quiver also going from 10 up to 13 attack power as well. Yes, they did just buff Banneret last patch too. Ah, yes, Gojin, that notoriously underperforming accessory. Ah, yes. Underperforming. Well, I mean, to be fair though, they did say adjustments of armor pieces that were overperforming or underperforming. They did adjust a piece of gear that was overperforming. They didn't say which way it would go. So there you go. Food changes. Some foods weren't healing as much in relation to the difficulty that it takes to obtain them. Fully agree, French fries sucked. French fries, they're gonna be healing 700, which is still not really enough to ever make them. And Zen Vitality is going from 850 up to 900. Okay, that's actually kind of significant. Wild animals. Leather is in demand. Oh, thank God. At Aesop. Leather is in demand, especially with the new pistol character on the island. We're trying to make it a bit easier to get. Chance to get leather from hunting a chicken is going up to 60%. And meat's going down to 40%. Good change. Just make it branches. Bug fixes. Bushes now behave normally and hide characters properly. Targeting skills such as Magnus's E and Shoichi's W now work properly when being aimed at enemies and no longer cancel when characters go out of range after starting the skill. That's it, guys. That's the whole patch. What do you think? I know I sat here and talked about only like the same 4 weapons for like 30 minutes or something, but man, I am so sad. I hate this. Aesop's gonna be like, if I know Aesop, he's gonna be like, I buffed your fucking character. Why are you complaining? All you do is complain. It's like, no. We just want the game to be balanced. man. We just want the game to be balanced. If they said like, oh, they said we're gonna buff things that are underperforming and nerf things that are overperforming, and they're like, cool, all right, let's nerf the things that are underperforming, or so let's buff the things that are underperforming. Hovid, Ruthenium Marble, Golden Ratio Bone, 10% CDR, Revenge of Gojin, Tactical Ops Helmet. I'd never see these fucking pieces of gear. Let's buff them. Yeah. Hell yeah. Jesus. Man. You make the next patch. Holy shit. I just want your game to be balanced, Aesop. I do. I'm fighting for you, man. Yes, buff golden ratio. Yes, but 10% CDR? Are you kidding me? Holy shit. How could they make it viable to go full damage squishy builds without armor pen? Yeah, I throw 6% fucking amp on Ruthenium, I guess. You can kill anyone in one rotation. You guys make the next patch on my desk next week. You got it, Chief. We got you. It'll be the best patch this game ever seen. Guys, what a patch. What a patch. I'm scared. The reason why I get so frustrated when I see some of these changes is because I know that by this buff right here, this single buff right here, Sisela gets nerfed. Fucking Zahir gets nerfed. All throw characters that really take advantage of Ruthenium, which, by the way, not, what's her name? The redhead, what's her name? Adriana. Adriana doesn't really take advantage of Ruthenium, but Zahir, Sisela, the characters that actually really use Ruthenium, broken now. Broken. Like, you finish a Ruthenium and you're just like, you're so strong. It's already ridiculous. If you can already finish a Ruthenium build on Sisela, I've been doing this for like ever since the buff. It's so good. And then you slam a Gojin and it's even better. And guess what? Spoiler alert, you can finish a Gojin and a Ruthenium in the same three zones. Or sorry, yeah, the same three zones. Fun fact. Don't contest my routes, but still, like, this is so questionable. Couldn't this be a community effort where you and Tom and some high LP players sit down in a group stream and we write patch notes? I mean, we've kind of done that before, and no, because we're NA. All we can do is suggest things and hope it gets picked up by I don't know, someone who might be listening. Do patch in the stream and we'll pass it on. Yeah. No, I ain't talking shit. You're doing fine, my friend. Like, I'm not even here to be upset at Aesop. Aesop is doing like really good. Like, this is Aesop. I bet this is Aesop, right? Because I don't think we've ever stopped complaining about chickens. Next stream title will be "We Write Patch Notes." Like, Aesop is great. We're not yelling at Aesop here. Aesop is like the poor wrinkled husk of a man in like the Yes Honey meme. Like, Aesop is doing his best. There's some other people on the balance team though. They're making some questionable decisions. In any case, guys, that's gonna be it for the patch notes discussion. What are your thoughts? Let me know. In any case, this is certainly one hell of a patch.